Welcome to the Mercy House podcast, where we discuss what is happening at Mother of Mercy House and what is happening in the Kensington area in general. Today we'll share what we do at Mother of Mercy House for Thanksgiving. We'll also hear Diane's advice for parents of an addict.
It is a really hard spot to be a parent, or I guess anyone in a family with someone with addiction. The whole thing is petrifying.
But I would imagine there's a lot of shame as a parent with a child with addiction, and then you got to go to a group. That would just instill, I'd have to fight that.
Children that live in this neighborhood that see that all day, that's disturbing to me. And that is a very sad thing, because although it doesn't faze me, if I had to live here with my children and that's what we did all day and they had to pass that to go to school, that's got to do a number on a kid, I would think. So, we do a lot of work with them.
Why is it important to give the residents an ability to celebrate Thanksgiving, and why is it important to give the addict a sense of Thanksgiving? Welcome to the Mercy House podcast.
Thank you.
I'm excited to be here again
I
with
am
you,
too.
Diane.
I'm excited to be here.
It's really cool to get to do this with you because, we made that movie, which is really great. But it's nice just to sit down and have a regular conversation about everything happening in Kensington at Mother of Mercy House, the work with the indoor neighbors, the work with the outdoor neighbors, work with kids, what the staff is up to, and what
This
volunteers are up to.
season, there's a lot going on.
And what will you do on Thanksgiving?
We're going to do our Thanksgiving on Tuesday of next week. That's when we give out our turkeys, because I think we did it a little bit later one year, and I realized I would be panicked if my turkey came the day before Thanksgiving. So we do it on Tuesday, and they get all the fixings, all the neighbors. So we'll probably have 150 turkeys. Monday, what I used to do for, I guess, like the last 7 years, for our outdoor neighbors, I would order gobblers from Wawa, the sandwiches with the turkey. So the outdoor neighbors also got Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving week.
Well, I think having any connection to Thanksgiving is important. But I wanted to ask you, so why is it important for the people? Why is it important to give the residents an ability to celebrate Thanksgiving, and why is it important to give the addict a sense of Thanksgiving?
I guess because it normalizes things. I want them to see the neighbors, of course, because they're our neighbors, and we do Thanksgiving, and so they do Thanksgiving, and that's a natural part of the year. The outdoor neighbors, those that are suffering, I guess because it grounds them a little bit. It just gives you a sense of holiday and what's important and what to be thankful for. And there are things to be thankful for. Even when you're outside, there's a lot to be thankful for. My whole idea would be to get them all in to help and have everyone saved and everyone feel better and addiction go away, but that's not going to happen. But at least to give, little pieces of normalcy throughout the year or even every week for them to come in. And our lunches, they are for that. They're to come in, sit down, feel like you're part of something bigger, part of a family. We talk, we discuss things, whatever. But when it's Thanksgiving, I want them to, otherwise, how would they have a Thanksgiving meal? A lot of families, although they love their those that are in their family with addiction issues, I know that they love them and want to be with them, but you can't. Sometimes you have to let your family member go because it's very disruptive. I mean, take it from me. I had small children when Shay was going through his substance use disorder, and you can't just have them at your house all the time. It's not okay. You get to a point where you're like, this is great. This is what you're choosing to do, but you can't really choose to do it in my home with my other children.
So I wanted to ask you, because you have experience working with addicts, you have experience dealing with it within your own house. What advice do you give to a mother or a father of somebody struggling with addiction?
It's funny because it was suggested that I go to, Al-Anon, and boy, it's hard to find a place there. You might have to go to a lot. So for people that have someone suffering, I would really suggest getting a group, finding your group. But it took me a long time. I mean, I went to many groups that I thought were just not a good fit for me. Many groups in really crazy places. The meetings would be in unusual places, and I tried a whole lot of them until I found a group that was more for me, like more my personality, what I could deal with. And you hear a lot of stuff you don't want to hear, so it's difficult because you're there, and you kind of feel bad about yourself. It is a really hard spot to be a parent, or I guess anyone in a family with someone with addiction. So you really have to reach out and find a group that's established, that gets it. And then when you hear, the stories are pretty much the same. You'd be really surprised. You feel like it's a personal attack on you, or it's very personal, but the stories are pretty much the same. And you can get so much out of someone else's story or what they've tried, things you haven't thought of. Because when you're in it, it's hard to think of it, things to do or what you should be saying, and hearing what other people do and hearing other ideas. It's a community effort. It really is.
So I hear you saying find a group.
Absolutely.
I hear you saying discover boundaries.
That's what it is. And you know what? The boundaries are really hard, really, really hard when you have someone in addiction.
Yeah. And I guess it's through the group that you learned how to have some of those boundaries.
Yes.
Just by observing,
Yeah.
seeing
That's
other people do it.
yeah. And
Yeah.
some of them I didn't agree with. Some of them I think, oh, you sound crazy.
Yeah.
You know? But a lot of them you're like, oh my gosh, that's a great idea.
For me, I haven't had a child with addiction, praise Jesus, and we've been through trauma, and I can see how one of my children, or all of them, could have been really struggled with things, and it's just a miracle. It's God's grace. But I am a part of a number of men's prayer groups, and it's the same thing. Just watching how other dads handle things as a Catholic man of God. It might not be the exact way that I would do it, but I learned something from it. And so that makes complete sense to me, that being in a group with other parents of children struggling with addiction, you're going to learn something from it. And not every men's prayer group on the planet is going to fit with me, right? And that does, but I need a men's prayer group. And so I think that's really wise that you could see, wow, like some groups don't fit with me, but I still need a group.
Yes. And it's hard because it's a commitment. So you go to one and you don't like them, or you don't like the way they handle something, and you go to another one. Now you're on your fourth one, and you're like, I have another life. This is taking up a lot of my time to even find a group. Yeah. So it's a commitment, but once you get a group, boy, does it help, because the stories are pretty much all the same. And someone's tried something that you hear, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't try that. And then you try it, and you're like, okay, well, that worked. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know how you would know. Right. It's a panic situation. It's like fight or flight. I think that's the saying, right? And you're in that mode, so you can't always think of what to do, but someone else has already thought of it. So use those people.
As a follow-up to that, I think, and maybe you could speak to this, but I would imagine there's a lot of shame as a parent with a child with addiction, and then you got to go to a group. That would just instill. I'd have to fight that. Is that?
Well, you're all in the same boat.
Okay.
So that is a little different, because you're all in the same boat when you're in this group, which also makes you feel better, because when you're out, let's say in your neighborhood, and you're the only one going through it. Yeah. It's difficult to navigate. But when you're in a group and you all have the same exact issue right then and there, it's so much easier to say, you can just talk freely. Everyone gets it. No one's ashamed. You're all there.
Wow. So being in the group helps you navigate shame.
Everything.
Too.
Yes, it does.
So it seems like it's giving you practical answers, but it also helps you deal with some of the emotions and the baggage.
And there's a lot of emotions and baggage.
Yeah. And so you realize, it's like, holy smokes, it really is everywhere.
It is everywhere. My husband and I drink a couple drinks a year. I have nothing against drinking. I don't love it. It's just not my thing. I wish I did. I probably could use a glass of wine at night, but I don't like it. But, we don't really drink. And then we have Shay. And we didn't even, first of all, it took us a couple of years to realize he was doing anything, because I wouldn't even know the signs. So that's another problem. But you'd be really surprised when you talk about it, when you're open about having a son or a daughter or a relative, how many people that you're like, you've got to be kidding. Yeah. You had a drinking issue, or it doesn't discriminate. They're all over the place. And, it's a shame, because some people can get out of it easier than others. And some people, as you see with Nick, who we adore, I mean, he suffers and cannot seem to get away from it.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen to Nick.
But there's a lot of Nicks. I mean, I'm using Nick because his picture's on the wall, but how many Nicks do we know? Yeah. I mean, you followed Nick, but there were...
Oh, Nick is everybody.
Yeah, there were hundreds of other ones you could have followed. You just happened to follow Nick.
Different details, but it's the same story.
Yep, they're all the same story. It's all sad. But
Yeah,
people
there's
do see Nick and think, oh, the story's about Nick, but the story's not really about Nick.
yeah,
You
it's
know,
about the whole
it's about the
community.
community, and Nick is just representing the
Yeah,
community.
yeah. You know what's crazy to me? You're so fluent in all of this, right? And you don't even drink alcohol.
No, I don't. I don't.
And that's the family that you raised.
Yeah.
That's who you were growing up. And
And my parents didn't drink. I don't think I ever saw, we never had a drink in the house. My parents, I mean, I guess when they went to a party at the holidays, they drank, but my parents didn't like crack open a beer or anything ever at my house.
yeah, see that? So, we're so quick to put shame and judgment on people, and then there you are living in this house without any of that junk.
No, I've never
just
mixed it.
happens.
I've never mixed a drink in my house and had a drink in my house.
Wow.
Never like mixed a cocktail. Like thought, oh, I'll mix a cocktail.
Yeah.
First of all, I probably wouldn't know how to mix a cocktail, but I know the idea.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
mean, I would have one if I went to a friend's house and they offered one maybe, but that just wouldn't be my.
Yeah.
And then you think, then you start to question, well, is it because we didn't drink? Like you start to question your entire life. Like we didn't drink. So maybe if we drank openly, like I have friends that drink openly and their kids don't have addiction issues. So then you start to question, were my kids too sheltered? You have to stop all that. It doesn't really matter. None of that really matters anyway.
I hear you saying if you have a child with addiction issues, that the typical parent just starts questioning
Everything you did. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we did two things, and some of them are, I mean, looking back now, I can find a little bit of humor because I'm through that rough time. But then you have other kids, and you're taking, I was taking Shay to meetings and driving, my little kids were in the car. And then they're like, well, where are we going? And it's hard to explain. I'm just trying to think of the age difference, 22 to, so 11 years. So my daughter, Na, was really young, and she didn't know where Shay was going. And I used to say, Shay was on student council. So I used to say, we're dropping off at student council meetings. They were like, which was ridiculous. You get caught up in these little white lies because you've got other kids that you don't want to say. All of my kids knew that Shay had addiction issues, but my youngest daughter. But she's a little girl, and she wouldn't have even understood. So you're kind of fibbing to her, then you're catching yourself lying. It's a debacle. It's a very difficult for families to navigate.
So you got to a point where you had to say to Shay he had to leave. So what's that like as a parent? What do you do? Yeah. So explain that process. What brought you to the point where you said I have to make Shay leave the house?
He was just wreaking havoc, and it was just a lot. And I don't remember. It's funny. I don't remember the exact thing, but I do remember saying you have to leave. And he did. And he was sleeping like in the back of somebody's car. In a girlfriend's house, the mom let him stay there on the couch, different things. Behind Wawa, I think he said he slept for a little bit. But then you have to say, someone has to get a hold of Shay and tell him, your phone's going to be turned off in 24 hours. So figure that out. Because if you don't start removing things that are comfortable for them, you can't just allow them to be totally comfortable in that world. So you start removing things. And, you have to warn them, your phone's going to go off. So whatever you have to do before that, then you cut his phone off. And then when you cut their phone off, you have no contact with them. The whole thing is petrifying. It's really thinking back now, it was petrifying. I can remember sometimes my younger ones would get on the bus and I would sit on the couch, and that's where I would sit the entire day, not knowing like what to do. And you hear a police car and you panic, or the phone rings and you panic. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot for parents. You really need a support group. As much as I hated it and I hated looking for one, and it took a long time to find one, you absolutely need a support group.
But I think that's got to be consoling for parents to hear that you hated it, that it was hard, and that it was worth it to find the right one.
Yep. But it was hard, and I did hate it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, parents judging other parents.
It was
is
that
preposterous.
hurts. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they'd say comments like, well, I'm with my child, I make sure I do this and that. And I'm like, I never missed a game. Yeah. Shay was vice president of student council in high school, but he was also every varsity sport. I didn't miss a game. And when my kids were little, I even stayed at practice because, of course, I thought I had the cutest kids and someone's going to steal them. So I would wait at practice with them. So even Shay would tell you, like, my mom was always with us. It wasn't like my mom, they'd be like, well, you didn't spend enough time. Were you? I'm like, okay, listen. And Shay we did all the things that you're supposed to do. And if we didn't, we did all the things within the range of normal. And everybody has an opinion.
But that speaks to the truth that addictive substances are just addictive substances, and some people get hit by them differently, and because they're just wired differently, and that's just what it is, and that's just something you're gonna have to deal with as a parent, like.
And I have other kids that aren't. So you have to think, one gets singled out, one you don't know.
Wow, that's got to be a scary world to
It's
live
hard.
in.
It's horrible. For parents that are out there, it's hard. It's hard. It's just hard.
Now, how long have you been at Mother of Mercy House?
8 years, maybe.
Yeah. So, good stretch.
Yeah.
So you're a woman who doesn't drink. Maybe at a party you'll drink. Obviously, you've never. You're not doing drugs and living a very sober lifestyle. But then had a child with addiction issues, and then here you are as the executive director of Mother of Mercy House.
Oh, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy how that turned out? Yeah.
And you haven't left.
No.
If you've been doing this for 8
No.
years, you found something. You found a way to do it where you can keep doing it. And I can see that it's a part of you. But could you kind of share what are some of your secrets for doing a ministry like this for the long haul? Because there are people out there that work in difficult ministry settings, whether it's with addicts or other difficult ministry settings. How the heck do you go home with any sanity and then come back with the energy to do it the next day?
I guess I see them as Shay, believe it or not. I just think that I know that when Shay wasn't with me, I would have appreciated someone loving on him, but not being me, because you kind of have to let them go. And I just feel like I'm able to give a whole lot of people that. And I do love them. And they'll ask me, it's so funny, I can think of the ones they ask me all the time. They're like, why do you feel like talking to us all the time? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know why I love you guys, but I do. And I'm here. And I'm coming back. And I'm coming back for the little kids in this area who don't want to be around this. But it's just, I don't know why.
See, to me, that's when you know it's a calling. Jesus said, you didn't choose me, I chose you. And I hear that in you. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Like,
I don't know why I'm here.
I am.
Gosh, I could be working at like some cute boutique. And I think to myself, this is crazy every day, the amount of stress, worrying about everyone. But the truth is, I do love it. I don't know why.
Yeah. I think you're where God put you.
I do too.
Yeah. And I feel the same way coming down here. People say, oh my goodness, you're going to go down to Kensington. And you've heard me say this before, but I'm just going to go see Jesus. He's on the street there, and I really mean that, and that's really my experience, and I want to be around Jesus. In fact, I was at that gala event with all these incredibly wealthy, but also very generous Catholics, and I'm talking to the one priest and bishop and this one other guy, and I said, goodness, just put me in places where people are the most poor or the most broken of the broken, and then where there's also the Eucharist, and I'm at home. And that's exactly what's here at Mother of Mercy House. Is
I don't even think
you have the Eucharist in this tabernacle, and the most broken are right out the front door. It's like being in Uganda, which for me is like being in heaven. Like I'm just in the midst of Jesus by being in the midst of the Eucharist and being in the midst of the poor, and I don't need or want more than that, and I'm just drawn to that, and so I know that that's my calling, to serve in places like this and to film and do stuff like that in places like this too, and I see you just following your calling, and I think that's important for people to hear that it's okay if your calling is something unusual.
If you would have told me when Shay was going through his addiction, if you would have told me this is where I'd end up, I would have been like, yeah, that's not going to happen. So not my thing. And then it just is.
But that's why you're great here, because it's not your goal. It's not you putting yourself here, oh, one day I'll be an executive director.
Oh, my God. Oh,
yeah.
gosh, no.
No, it's just, so I hear you saying that to be able to do a ministry long-term like this, it has to be an actual calling, not some personal goal or achievement.
Oh, gosh. I don't know what what would your personal goal even be? Because there's really no...
I think there are people out there that really do want to, that's a goal. Like, I'm going to be this and I'm going to change the world that way. And I think you just have to come down because of a call and nothing more.
Yeah, I don't
And
think that could be I think you'd be sorely disappointed if you had any expectations. If I like thought everyone here is going to end up, I'm going to fix everyone like that. That really can't be your thing. Is to like love on them and make them feel loved and understood, and whatever you get from that, if they can, get help, that's great. If not, I'm going to love them tomorrow and hope that's the day, and it may never be the day. And some of them actually don't want it. Some of them don't have any intentions of getting, and that's okay.
I think that's why you've been able to do this for the long haul, because your goal is not success. Your goal is love. It's not like success, like I will get this person clean successfully. Your goal is to love the addict, to love the resident, to love.
I want them to feel, I really, it's important that they feel loved to me.
Mother Teresa said something along those lines. She said, it's not our job to be successful. It's our job to be faithful.
I didn't do that.
And being faithful as a Catholic.
She's my homie. I like that saying.
Yeah, oh, she's awesome. But to be faithful as a Catholic is just to love well. That's the single greatest quality that Jesus is looking for, is your love. And
yeah, I think if you had any I would love
oh my
this
goodness,
all to go away.
Absolutely.
But my goal is just to make sure that they know, and they do, and I would say most of them do know that I love them and that they can come to me for things.
And I have to tell you, some of these guys are going to die out here. I don't know how else to say it. It's just the reality. Mm-hmm. Some of the men and women here, have died out here and will die out here, and some will get clean and live amazing lives. And I can't tell you who's who. I can't tell you. But in fact, I could never tell you who's who. But I know that it's my call just to love them. Yeah. Well, and I think that's really important, is you do a good job of knowing what is your job and what isn't your job. I think it's your job to love people. It's not your job to succeed in getting them anything. It's just to love them. And loving them that day might be getting them to rehab. Like, if they're open to that, and that's
totally
a beautiful
agree.
day.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day.
Oh my goodness, that's my favorite way to love somebody out here.
Yeah.
But it might not be the way that you get to love them today. And you seem to have your consolation be just loving people.
Yeah.
And I think for a parent, that has to be the consolation too. It can't be to even get your kid clean. I imagine it has to be to love your kid well while they're an addict. And hopefully you get to love them into sobriety. But I have spoken to some of the parents of the guys on the street, including Nick and his mom. Her goal can't be to get him clean. No. It has to be to love him well. And sometimes that means creating a boundary and letting him go.
I know, and it's really, for the parents out there, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, but I think for the parents who've got kids out there in Kensington, I think it has to be a consolation to know that Mother of Mercy House exists.
And we're loving them up. And we know our boundaries, so don't get me wrong. We're not agreeing with the way they're choosing to live. It's not like, oh, come on, we love you so much, you can do whatever you want. No, you can't. And, they'll say to me, well, my parents. No, you know what? Your parents are in the right. You drove them crazy. They can't deal with this anymore. They just can't. So let them be. Right. You do you, let them be them, and just try and get back there somehow. But, your parents don't hate you. It's not like, oh, they hated you one day because of this. It's very difficult to have a child.
Yeah, and I think for parents, they have to know there's no shame, there's no guilt.
There shouldn't be shame. there's.
It doesn't even make sense.
No.
Yeah, and you just have to love with the cards you've been dealt, and sometimes you have some bad cards, but you just have to love well with those bad cards. Sometimes I think loving well in really difficult situations, I don't know, I think is more beautiful than loving well with the white picket fence and everything's perfect.
Easy. Well, that's a good day, and that's an easy day. But how often, really, if you think about it, you don't go through life like that. Yeah. You've got to make sure you're loving when it's harder.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that, because that reminds me of Jesus. So much of what you say reminds me of Jesus. But Jesus said anybody can love their friend. he said that it takes a truly holy, I'm paraphrasing him, but it takes a truly holy person to love your enemy. And so then he says, pray for your enemies. Like the measure of love is the ability to love in the difficult circumstances. And so at the Mother of Mercy House, they have a mother down here in Kensington, in you, but also a mother in Mother of Mercy House in general. And that's modeled after Our Lady, the Mother of God. So they're being mothered, and they're still children. They're still children of God, and they still have those beautiful moments. And, you know, no matter how it ends or how it goes for them, and we pray they all get clean, they're still beautiful children to the parents that they have and beautiful children of God. And seeing that is what makes me able to come down over and over again.
Oh, I totally agree. I do. I think that it's a shame because, you know, even when you come down here, people, aren't you afraid? No, they're not. They have an addiction issue. They have, you know, a substance use disorder that is wreaking havoc on their bodies, on their being. But they're still people, and they still have good moments, and they really do. I mean,
and we get to be part of those moments. And if you support Mother of Mercy House, you get to be a part of that moment, whether it's by volunteering, donating money, donating time, donating food or notes, or like the youth group who made all those gift bags. You
belly
get
bags.
to be a
I
part
think
of
they're called
that.
belly bags.
Belly bag. Oh, there you go.
I think they're called belly bags.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many different ways to, you know, and then we have the kids that have to, that part is sad. The children that live in this neighborhood that see that all day, that's disturbing to me. And that is a very sad thing because although it doesn't faze me, if I had to live here with my children and that's what we did all day and they had to pass that to go to school, that's got to do a number on a kid, I would think. So, you know, we do a lot of work with them.
You know, we're going to have to talk about that in the next podcast because that's kind of the unseen work.
The trauma that they see is...
It's astonishing.
Yes, it is.
And giving them a sense of normalcy, giving them a Thanksgiving meal is as important as giving the addict a sense of Thanksgiving, to give them a sense of normalcy and a bigger world and a bigger love. Well, I'm going to end us with a quick prayer.
Okay.
And thank you for all the time today, Diane.
You're welcome.
And I pray that your ribs begin to feel better,
Yeah,
too.
me too. Thank you.
In the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. God, we thank you for Mother of Mercy House. We thank you for all the good things that happen here, even in difficult circumstances. We thank you for the donors that make this work possible, whether they donate time, treasure, talent, food. We thank you for them, and we ask that you bless them. In Jesus' name, amen. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Thanks, Diane.